You guessed it, I'm in the koi house. That was some great banter this morning on a WhatsApp group, JPN Koi. Funny, honestly. Some cracking banter. So, right, here we are. Oh, look at this. What is going off? So, the two Karashes, golden corn, there's one, and there's the other one just above it then. It's quite surprising. I put them in this pond and they look quite unassuming. If you look at them, look, they just look like white fish. But the colour, there's like a tinge to it at the minute, as you can see. And there's this DOCs. In a sort of way, the food is really going in, so it's to be expected. And there's salt in this pond. So I put salt in about 2 weeks ago, so I think that's getting to the DOCs, i.e. what I've noticed is, if you look from here, you can't really see, the actual pond wall of this, where you've got blue and white squares, it should have, you can see it's becoming cleaner look. So the bit of algae on the walls, the salt is getting to it, definitely. It's only was salted just to below 0.3 for nitrite. I really have hit the peak now with this feed. So that amount has only gone after about three days, and I've just topped it up again. Now it's on pure balance. So on my last video, I think I mentioned that there was a mix of 50-50 balance, 50 growth, and that what was in that feeder all went after about 3 days. So the food, you know, is going in, so that's obviously tinging the water a bit. We're at the maximum, but it's tailing down now because 22.9 on the controller feeding the air pumps. The air pump, the mini one, is on 24, but the controller is putting power to it when that is taking control, basically. And then that's set to, I think, a about a 0.3 difference. So I found that anything above that, it kicks in, but the air pump is on too long. It's on for a really long period, and it didn't seem to get up to temperature, especially when the temperature drops in summer. So I think from May, June, July, August, September, till around about this time this year, because we had a bit of a cold snap in the UK, it seems fine. But out of them parameters, it just seemed to struggle a bit. Well, that's my experience anyway. So yeah, the fish are doing absolutely mint, as you can see. Well, you can't see. So what got me thinking was the water, actually, when I get some out. Have you ever seen Ricky Stoddart's videos at Koi Wholesale? He will sometimes mention his water and the colour of it with like this tinge, and mine in the last few weeks has started doing that. You can see, look, seeing that white cup? You can see that it's not clear. So, you know, I'm not seeing that as a negative, really. So that is where a skimmer would help, because I've got to skim this myself with maybe a fine net or something to get it off, or just leave it, because it will just build up and build up. So if I want to get rid of it, that's where a skimmer comes into its own. So if I had a skimmer on this, that would just skim all off and give a lovely clear surface. So I know Ricky did a video on YouTube on one of his talks about ponds, and he said that skimmers aren't essential. Now, they're not, I totally agree, but they really are an added benefit for things like this, because it would just skim all that foam off. It won't get rid of the dissolved organic compounds in the water, of course it won't, but it will clear foam off as well. So for that, I think it would be worth it, especially if you're pulling it through something else. You got a pump fed with 10k litres on it over a shower or something like that. but then you've got to have sponges and stuff, because the little baskets that you get with them, they block up quite easy. Saying that, the one on my main pond outside, I clean that out. I think this year I've been cleaning it out once a week, so it's not too bad. But anyway, that's my view on that. Just to ramble on, that just came into my mind because of the DOCs. So I've got to physically do something with them or leave them. You know, now I only see these twice a day, minimal, and I try, when I come in, I like, oh, hello, to try and get, you know, get the used to me coming in here, that used to that environment. And I've got someone commenting from Japan, which I do appreciate, but I sometimes wonder if that person is watching my videos, because I do look at what they're doing, I do look at the behaviour, and yes, they are weary when I come in, but this is, you know, in here, like I say, they do get left alone. They do get left alone. So I think his last comment on one of my videos was maybe you need to get everything done at the start of the season, whether it's sterilising stuff, pond and stuff for parasites, get all that done, and then he said, if I'm getting it right, then you have to leave them alone. But then he mentioned that you have to get a net in so they get used to you. Is that right? Often, which then means you're not leaving alone. So I was a bit confused about, you know, this sort of culture or what he's talking about in Japan. But obviously we're not in Japan. We've got very different conditions here, different environment, you know, so, and we do well, because look at the fish. They really have grown, you know, the proof's in the pudding there, look at them. If you could look at them, but you can't because of the foam. So yeah, so for these, what I did think about doing though, it did sort of prick my senses. I thought, maybe he's onto something there. I might just start, you know, instead of having the net up there, just like I'm just having the net maybe on the top or something. So, and then maybe every day just move it to somewhere else and think that, so they get used to it on the pond. I don't know. But I don't have any problems catching them in here. And koi, I'm kind of, like I say, a bit confused with what he's saying as well, because koi really, they don't want to be touched a lot, do they? They do want to be left alone. But I get what he means when he views this pond, that they're a bit skittish, and they are. And that's since I lost a couple in spring, when I dropped that clanger with the PP, which I'll come on to PP in a minute. So yeah, the dynamics changed in here, because that female Achiba that I had was like an hungry hippo. It was a really, really friendly fish. You come up and it was... Okay, and then it when I lost 3 fish there, was it 2? I can't remember now. I think the 2, because one of them was not, had a issue. It really changed the dynamics on this pond, it really did. This one is a different kettle of fish. Yeah, I can scare them by doing that and whatever and tapping it and stuff, but look, if you look at this one, it's just kind of there looking at me, and if I put some food here and stand here, they'll come up. But this one, it's just different dynamics. It just, you know, and that maybe is because of the change. You know, this year, even though I've not kept going in, this week I added the 2 golden corn, so that's changed the dynamics again. A couple of months before that, the Shisui went in, so that's changed the dynamics again. And then the Tamasaba have gone in this year. So, like I say, this pond is for heating, it's heated, it's indoors, and it's for growing them on. So, you know, it's not here for me to sit here and feeding them and like them pets type of thing and getting that enjoyment out of them. But, you know, I've been more than happy with what they're producing. I mean, look at that Momotaro shower now. I keep saying that, there's no point. Because it looks like I say, the algae's being knocked off. And I can see that in here. See that in there? You can see it on the brushes, look. See the algae on the brushes? So, that is, if you like, a downside, a pro or a con to using salt. Depends what you think. Now, you might want to knock the algae back a little bit, but it will discolour your water in time because it will gradually kill off the ends and everything of the actual algae in the pond. And that's what it's doing. I've done it in this before and it did the same thing. Within a week or two, this just turned into like green water because all that algae that was on the walls or in the pond, you know, in the pond, literally died back. It died back. It did come back, but it just died. It just kills it off a bit, depending obviously on the salt percentage. This is only like just under 0.3, and that's enough to knock it off, as you can see. I mean, there I actually poured the salt in there straight from the bag, and you can actually see where I've dispersed it with the hose pipe, and it's gradually, you know, dissolved, because you can see it's cleaner. It goes cleaner to here. Look, can you see it? You can just see the like a bit of a line where it goes whiter to darker, and that's where the salt was. But it's just now got into all the water column the last 2 weeks and killing off it all on the walls and everything, and that's what that is. So there's a reason for it. So yeah, look at that. Here's my PSB. I've got another bottle in here. Now, admittedly, I totally admit it don't look the same purity and everything as what you buy, and it wouldn't do, because I think what they do, I think they must filter it as well. This is totally unfiltered, and obviously they'll have it set up better. But anyway, I've got another 4 bottles of that, and I've made it myself for a few pound. So I just keep pouring it in there every day, and just, yeah, because I've got it. I'm not buying it again though. I'm not, because to me, I've never really seen like going, oh yeah, that's made a massive difference. I really truly haven't. So PP, I've seen some horror stories. 2 actually, I think 2. I've seen one where there's a video on YouTube, you've probably all seen it, where there's £100,000 worth of koi killed by use of PP, which, it just, if you think about it, to me, it just don't transpute, does it? Because you've got £100,000 worth of fish and you've used PP wrongly, and you think, well, if you've got that amount of fish, wouldn't you have experience using PP, or have someone doing it for you, or I don't know, just a lot goes round your mind to think. Straight away when I saw that video, I thought something seriously wrong has gone wrong, and it's not the PP. It's not the PP. PP, like any chemical that we buy, whether it's FMG, no matter what it is, acroflavin, chloramine T, they're all chemicals that are put into the pond, and they're all chemicals we should use with care. Double check your volume, double check your measurements, weigh them, do due diligence, work out all your quantities, check again, check again, check again. And one thing you don't do, or you can do, but you got to learn from it. Because I pushed it on this pond this year with PP, and I killed a couple of fish because I pushed it. Because me, dropped a clanger, and I tried to push the boundaries with the PP. So again, it wasn't the PP, and it hasn't put me off using it. You've just got to know what your limits are. And I would say, as a crude number, they put out 6.8 grams. 6.8 grams per 1,000 gallon is the normal quotation that you'll see out there. I would say 10 grams. 10 grams. I won't have any problem using 10 grams. Keep it simple. 10 grams to 1,000 gallon on a pond. And you shouldn't have no problems at all. You push that boundary and you get a bad combination, you could be in trouble. And I was in trouble in this pond. So early on this year, if you look at my videos, I know what I did because I know what I put in, and I pushed it too much, and it was indoors, so the oxygen in the pond was obviously lacking anyway, probably because it's indoors and it was warm, and I put too much PP in it, so it actually starved oxygen in the pond. And it had this weird combination as well by killing, at the time I had a lot of algae in this pond, a hell of a lot of algae. So all this combination of factors caused a cocktail of something going wrong. If I had to put too much PP in, it wouldn't have gone the way it did, but I did. I topped up once and I topped up again with the PP in a watering can. And if I remember right as well, usually I give my measurement 10 gram, 1,000 gallon, that's it. Okay, so this would have 10 grams, that's it, done. Don't put no more in. But what I did, I didn't do that. I started on that and it went brown, it went like a greeny colour. You know, so I put some more in, so what I did, I tried the topping off at keeping it purple job. Whereas then looking at your eyes and looking at colours, you can't tell the oxygen content. So I dropped a major clanger. I was going off the Cactoily as well. And I've since learned the MV, the AWP, was out of calibration. And I did click on that because I thought, hang on, what's going off? I'm putting PP in and nothing moved. The MV wasn't moving, almost like it plateaued. So I kind of knew what I was doing. But I still did it. I still pushed the boundary. And unfortunately for me, I learned a harsh lesson put my teeth in that day. That couple of days was a harsh lesson. Try and say that, harsh lesson. But I moved on. I was cheesed off, gutted as you are, but I moved on and learnt from it, because I took it as a new learnt boundary. I lived and learned. So now I know 10 gram, 1,000 gallons is enough. Now, the other horror story, I'm not going to mention the channel, but you may have seen it, was PP dip. So the fish in this pond, when I get new fishing now, even from good, reputable places, I PP dip them. I've been doing them for the last year or two. Now, I'm not going to really tell you much about quantities because you've got to be careful. So what I use, let's finish on this. Now what this person done, I don't know what they did, but they used one of these and it had loads of water in it. But the colour of that water with that PP, wow, it was like red wine. It was really, really strong. And they did it for 15 minutes. I don't care what any of these products say on them, don't dip a koi for 15 minutes. 3 minutes is all that's needed. 5 maximum. Don't take your eye off the watch because that time goes so quick. Time it. On my wristwatch, I put my stopwatch on and I time 3 minutes. And I'll be doing a few little bits and before you know it, it's like, bloody hell, 3 minutes is done. Right, they're in. They're out. Dead quick. Because what the PP will do, what that's doing in that bath, it's killing parasites on contact. It's just not going to take much because of the strength. So you've got to be really careful because you're putting them in a non-oxygen rich environment. So straight away, they're in that environment with not a lot of oxygen, and if they're in there too long, what it will do, it will damage the gills, the filaments on the gills. You've seen the gills. You pull the gill plate back and have a look. They're so delicate and got these filaments and layers. And if you're in there too long, at too high strength, if you make a mistake, so again, water volume to how much PP. And I do, it's only about 2 gram per 10 litres. And I use the clover leaf, the powder. So now if you look on here, let me have a look at the bath dose. Add 100 milligram per litre of pond water and bubble the solution for 20 minutes before adding fish. Dip fish for 5 minutes, keeping a close eye on them. 1 mil is 1.1 mil So that spoon that you get in this is 1.5 gram. There's a little blue spoon in this. So 100 milligram, that's not 1 gram? No, 0.1. So that's 0.1 gram a litre. So that's where you've got to be careful, look. It says add 100 milligram, not 100 gram. Can you imagine? So this is where, look, you've really got to think about what you're doing. Add 1 point, and then it says 1.5 gram per 1,000 litres there, look. But then 100 milligram per litre. So I'm pretty sure that's only 0.1 of a gram, which is not a lot at all. So I think what I did, I had that in there. So that was about full. That holds about 20 litres. And I put one little blue scoop in. And it's only that little blue spoon there, not much at all. And that's 1.5 gram. The smaller fish, these have got a line in, so they've got a measuring line, so you can do it that way. So yeah, so that you can make a big mistake quick, can't you? Like I'm just doing off the top of my head. So look at instructions, look at measurements, double check, and if you're not confident, don't do it. If something's off, you think something's off, don't do it. And like I say, even at a high percentage, you shouldn't, say if I made a mistake and put too much PP in there, you shouldn't kill it within 3 minutes, 5 minutes tops. It might be damaged, but you shouldn't kill it. 15 minutes, you won't kill it outright in the bowl, but you've done that much damage to the gills, it'll have a slow death in your pond because it can't breathe. You've damaged the gills, you've damaged its function that it can take oxygen in. So, yeah. I don't let it put me off. I've had a bad experience this year, but it was my mistake. My mistake. But it is still an effective treatment. And if you think about it, most treatments, FMG, chloramine T, you name them, if you make a mistake and you put way too much in, you could damage your fish, could kill your fish. So chemicals, the story is on this video is chemicals are really harsh, they're really stressful for your fish. So on this one we're going to end, don't use chemicals or any treatments unless really necessary. Your last resort. And don't keep putting them in. Don't keep bombarding your fish. See a lot of that as well. Some going from, oh, I use chloramine T and then I used a fluke treatment, then I want to use another fluke treatment. Like I say, I've not got no other products on my shelf like FMG, chloramine T or anything like that. My go-to is PP, to be fair. So, you know, because it's so easily available on the internet. I know what other products are as well. And you can kill most parasites like tricks so easy with PP with one treatment. If you did 10 gram to 1,000 gallons, get your measurement right, leave it in there, put it in your pond, you can pretty much guarantee you'll knock trick on the head straight away. And I've killed Costia and Chilo. I've done them with just using PP before with no other treatment. No other treatment. The only other one is fluke. And I'd always use a fluke treatment that's praziquantel based. I won't use any other treatment if it's not got that base in it. Okay, so the moral of the story is on this video, watch them treatments, keep an eye on your koi, hit the subscribe button, the like button if you haven't already. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.